I mean, I think one thing we will often have parents come to us say, my child will not show their work, will not explain how they are doing the problems. The first question I have is, are they getting the answer correct? And if the answer is yes, then then there's no problem here. Like, move on, like, keep going with their learning. If they're getting the answers correct, they understand the material. They can't communicate it yet, that's okay. Some of that's developmental. And some of that is just, it's obvious to me. Why should I explain it to you? The point at which that's the student thinking, not me. The point at which students that are exhibiting this behavior will start communicating mathematics is when they need to communicate it to keep track of it themselves. And they'll hit that point because everybody does. At some point, they'll get to a point with the math problems that they're working on, where in order to keep track of all of the information, they're going to have to write something down. And that's the point at which they'll start learning the importance of communicating mathematics, because they have to communicate it to themselves. That may be much later for some students than it is for other students. It's when you see a student starting to get answers incorrect, that is the right time to step in and say, all right, explain to me how you're thinking about this. Because there's a misconception there. There's something wrong and you need to unpack it. And waiting until that point to really dig into that, well, now it makes sense to the student why you're asking the question to begin with. The answer's not right. Let's talk about how we're thinking about this. Whereas if you're forcing a kid for whom everything is obvious to communicate why this obvious thing is true, you're turning math class into English class. And I don't want to, like, English class is a wonderful and great thing, but let's keep these two separate when we're trying to get the student to really appreciate and love mathematics.